welcome to the first Fight of the Night review of 2022. Ooh, that did rhyme quite nicely, didn't it? So, yeah, first UFC card of the year, first Fight of the Night of the year, and it was a main event at the UFC Apex Center between Cavin Kattar and Giga Chikadze, and as always, it's my job to break down all the rounds, 5 of them in this case, because main event, and try and tell you what I thought of it by the end. Spoilers, I probably won't be able to get all the details exactly right, and I may skim some details as well, because I'm scuffed as hell. So I will, yeah, we'll see how this goes, but, you know, I'm always excited for it. And we begin, as always, with round 1, and it is pretty good going for Chikadze at first. He is starting to outland Kattar on the feet quite a bit. He's catching Kattar coming in, and this is sort of the case for the first minute of the round, and indeed of the entire fight. And then Kattar gets a really good takedown on Chikadze. He's able to counter like one of the strikes. Actually, no. Chikadze goes for a head kick, slips, and Kattar capitalizes by getting a takedown. A fairly easy looking one too. And he smothers Chikadze almost for the rest of the round. He's staying on top of him. He's getting some really good half guard transitions. Almost gets him out at some point. Although I think when he tries, Giga goes for a guillotine choke. It's not fully locked in, and he tries to get the legs up around the body, but when he tries to do that, Cavin manages to counter. Almost goes for an on-triangle, and first fight of the night of the year, and there's already something I've never seen before in a UFC fight. So Cavin went for an arm triangle. Chikadze rolled him around, so it looked like Cavin was going for the arm triangle from the bottom. And, you know, you can't really get an arm triangle from there. I don't think I've ever seen it happen. Usually you do it from the top, and that was obviously Cavin's intention. He just wasn't able to do it. Giga managed to sort of counter and roll through with it. And he managed to stick it out, but Cavin definitely kept him on the ground. He was opening up with some good strikes. And, to be honest, round 1 is difficult to call because Giga only had the first couple of bits of the round, but he did have the more impactful parts, whereas Cavin just went for a takedown, and he did enough, basically, to keep him sustained, so it is a very difficult round to call. But I think because he was in more control, I will give the first round to Kattar. Like, capitalizing on the takedown was a very smart strategy from him, and I don't think he would have gotten it otherwise, because he wasn't exactly seeking it at first. He was just trying to get around Chikadze's punches and his offense, and he was caught with some really good kicks too, but he managed to counter and get the takedown, and in my opinion, he won round 1. Then we get to round 2, and again, sort of an interesting thing that's going on with Kattar walking down Chikadze, because he's sort of like in his head after the takedown, I think. But Chikadze is landing on Kattar. He's opening up with some really good strikes. He's landing some really nice shots. Like elbows are really... Actually, no, it's not him that lands the elbows, so we'll get to that. But yeah, Chikadze is landing some really good straights, some really good 1-2 combos. Really good kicks. However, Cavin starts to catch on to the kicks, and he starts, like, turning his body away to southpaw, because when he's in orthodox, he's a bit more open to them, whereas, you know, in southpaw, he's avoiding them a bit easier. And he does start closing the distance on Chikadze. I think he even attempts another takedown at some point. I don't remember if it's round 2 or 3, but an attempt is made, and he almost sort of gets it. I think he starts pushing Chikadze against the cage. Chikadze almost grabs it, and Keith is there to warn him, but he manages to escape being taken down. Having said that, though, Cavin does sort of get a trippy takedown near the end of round 2, and while round 2 was easily my favourite of the rounds, yes, and of the fight, and while it was more difficult to call, even though Kattar was walking Chikadze down, I give round 2 to Chikadze. I think he was just landing more with his strikes, although Cavin was landing really well too, landed a good couple of elbows, and yeah, this is where the main story thread of the match would start. But yeah, really good round for Kattar, but better round for Chikadze. I think this is the only round that Chikadze really wins, but still very exciting round all in all, and I enjoyed all the action going through it. Next is round 3, and this is where it sort of starts to sway more in Kattar's favour. Chikadze is throwing fewer leg kicks, and apparently it's harder to throw leg kicks when you're being walked backwards, and Cavin is walking Chikadze backwards a lot in round 3. He's starting to open up on him with some more shots. There's my cat. He actually rocks him with some really good elbows. Lands some really good punches. He even goes to the body a little bit. Chikadze tries to set stuff up, but it's just not happening for him. This might also be the rounds where the back takedown was attempted. I don't really remember fully, but Kattar, yeah, he was walking down Chikadze, landing on him, opening up on him. He was sort of one and doneing it as well. And there was some really good exchanges at some points, but round 3, again, I'm sorry, I don't recall a lot of this round, but Kattar yeah, he was just countering a lot of Chikadze's offense. Chikadze did get a couple of good shots in, but yeah, round 3 is definitely where it fell more in favour of Kattar, who, spoiler, would win the fight by unanimous decision. But it wasn't a completely hopeless round for Chikadze. It's just like, it wasn't the best round for him, and Kattar definitely managed to come away with round 3 in my opinion. Speaking of not as many details, round 4, couldn't remember a lot of this one either. It felt very similar to round 3, and it's where the fight started slowing down in my opinion. Cavin was landing much huger shots though in round 3. In fact, he was starting to bust open Chikadze in rounds 2 and 3, I would say. And Kattar, yeah, he starts throwing the elbows more frequently. He starts clipping Chikadze hard with them. Like, there's a spinning back elbow he lands at some point. He lands a good couple of those, but like, he lands a really good one in round 4. He's starting to open up with more kicks as well. He's keeping Chikadze on the back foot, and surprisingly, he's not going for any takedowns. I know, like, he wasn't exactly looking for one in round 1 because he only capitalized when Chikadze slipped up, but he didn't really give Chikadze a chance to slip up because he was pressuring him so much, and I think he could have risked going for a takedown. But yeah, round 4 definitely again all in favor of Kattar. He landed some really good shots, really good punches. There was a great moment where he landed a knee, then a big looping left, then like a head kick, then another big looping left, and Chikadze was still standing. He was like still right in front of Kattar, getting the piss battered out of him, and blood started pouring down from cuts around his face. And yeah, Kattar definitely won round 4. He was just almost always there, and Chikadze was not throwing as much as he was in the earlier rounds. He did get a good left though at some point in round 4, but yeah, round 4 again all Kattar. Felt very squashy by this point, but we still have one more round to go, so let's try and remember as much as I can about it as I talk through it. And finally, the 5th and final round. I don't know why I do that with my hands. I don't really need to, because, you know, there's going to be text that displays what round it is, so you don't really need me to help, even though I am technically helping because I'm editing this to let you know what the round is. Point is, round 5. Again, like, it feels a bit slower than I was thinking for, you know, the last 5-minute round of a 25-minute fight. And there were parts where I was just, like, not paying attention, and it would skip to, like, yeah, before I realised it would skip further ahead in the fight, I was like, what? But yeah, round 5 is where Chikadze did start trying to get some of his win back. He even opened with a really good combo in Kattar, and the commentary team even highlighted this by saying that Chikadze was saving a lot of his energy for the 5th round. Although he didn't really get a lot of it off, because even though he was starting to throw more kicks and he was trying to follow up on Kattar a bit more, Kattar landed elbow after elbow after elbow after elbow, landed a lot of them on Chikadze in round 5, and started busting him open a lot. Bruises, cuts. Like, Kattar, you know, he had like a little cut on his nose, maybe a bruise on his cheek, but he looked completely fine by the end of the fight. Chikadze had been messed the hell up, and there is even a hospital selfie that I recommend you go and seek for yourself, because I love it when UFC fighters do that. So if you compare that selfie, you can see the difference in their faces. Cavin looks mostly fine, Chikadze not so much. Anyway, back to the fight. Yeah, Kattar definitely clearly wins round 5 too. Like, he's on the back foot a little bit more in this one, and it does start to feel a little bit more one-sided at some points, but a bit more even. But Kattar does manage to bounce back really well. Again, lands the elbows. He even gets a good takedown on Chikadze near the end. It almost finishes him, but yeah, with only like 5 seconds left, he isn't able to do that. And the final horn bell, it's a horn, is sounded. The clackers are clacked, and yeah, there you go. That's the fight. I'm really good at outros for these. But yeah, that was the fight, and honestly, I thought it was better than last year's first fight of the night of the year between Kattar and Max Holloway, while Holloway won, which was almost a year ago, actually. In fact, as of tomorrow, it would have been a year since I reviewed that one, because it was on January 16th, and that's what today is. So, as in, like, the last year's fight between Cavin and Max was on the 16th. This year it was on the 15th of January. I'm good at dates. No, I'm not. But the point is, I thought the fight was a lot less one-sided, and Chikadze stood more of a chance against Kattar than Kattar did against Holloway. Having said that, I wouldn't put this immediately on my top fight at my top fights list. I do think it was a lot better than I was expecting it to be, and Chikadze definitely hung in there. But, you know, for one thing, it's the first fight of the night of the year. I'm getting really tired of saying that already. And for another thing, you know, I did like it. It was a lot more entertaining than I thought it would be. I did like the respect shown, but I felt very slow. than other places, and fairly sluggish and a bit too one-sided for the most part. Although round 2 was amazing and round 5 had some real highlights, but the remaining 3, you know, okay, round 1 had some good bits, but rounds 3 and 4 felt very, very much in favour of Kattar. And I'm not complaining with him getting the win. I think he absolutely did more than enough to get the win, and he did get the win, so applause for him. But yeah, I would recommend watching this fight yourself, because there are some really good moments, and even though I'm not a big fan of a one-sided affair, I am sort of a fan of seeing a fighter just carry on despite the obvious pain he's in, because Chikadze was messed the hell up, but he managed to tough through it and even see the end of 25 minutes. Against Kattar, that's not an easy thing to do, so I do give both men, you know, high applause for this, because it was an entertaining fight. I just don't know if it's an early favourite, so we're going to wait and see, and yeah, we're going to wait and see what the rest of the year has in store for us. That'll about do it for the review proper. I will see you possibly tomorrow for a very brief history of For Today, and then maybe the day after that for the full episode. Although I do know on Tuesday night, I've still got the card set up, which I'll do tonight, but on Tuesday night it's going to be PPW vs AVW Season 4 Episode 11, the midway point between Cutting Edge and Hate at the moment, so look forward to that. And then the next thing I can promise you will probably be another episode of Music of the Week, and then more Resident Evil 7 streaming next Friday. And as always, thank you for watching, you're awesome, bye bye.